10 things that you might not know about No Really I'm Fine, the record, being as it's the 10-year anniversary this year, 2017. Let's see, one of the things, I have a couple myself that I can, off the top of my head. On the song Low Fidelity, we ended up having a horn trio or quartet?
Yeah, I think it was a trio.
A horn trio, trumpet, sax, and trombone. Yeah. And something like that. The band leader, or the leader of that little quartet trio, was Jerry Hay, who is this just freaking beast of a player. He's an old man now. They're all old men, but they actually did the horns on Thriller, all those '80s albums like Toto, some Phil Collins, I think. So all those like cool horn parts in the '80s, they ended up coming in and doing horns on Low Fidelity, which was a little treat from our producer of that record, Neil Avron. He knew and knows so many people in that industry. We got to record it at Sunset Sound, which I'm sure maybe if you look at the credits, it's in there. I mean, all this might be in the credits, but you might not know who some of the people are. So we also had all of the organ and keys, except for one track. The organ, basically all the organ was done by Rami Jaffee, who is now a official member of the Foo Fighters. He was in also the Wallflowers, and then he was practicing with Foo Fighters when he would come to our session for No Really I'm Fine, and he would give us this hard drive full of all these friggin' organ parts, which is just so amazing. The guy was a genius, and he was so nice. That was amazing, because then he would leave, Foo Fighters practice to come to our friggin' little session. And then what else we got? We had strings via a little quartet of strings composed by David Campbell, who is, if you look him up, his credits are incredible. He is actually Beck's dad. It looks just like Beck, just older. It's crazy. It's nuts. So he did strings on Appreciation in the Bomb and Lullaby, and they sound phenomenal. And
that was another like group too, and it was like
yeah.
Was it like a group of 2 or 3?
I think it was a trio. I think it was 3, and it was just like, I mean, I almost got into tears when I was, because we got the song done, Lullaby and Appreciation. They were all basically done, but he came in, and just watching Neil and the assistant engineer Eric and David Campbell, watching them like write it out, on the staff paper, and just watching them was just like, I mean, we just sat back. I mean, we weren't like, there wasn't any not cool part. The atmosphere they created with those strings was just unbelievable.
One take, just blast it out.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights, and still to this day one of the highlights of my career. I mean, and just of that experience itself. Another little tidbit. What else? We got
Anthony Green.
Anthony Green sang on a part. He was supposed to sing the whole bridge of a song called "Bleed." Everyone's doing it, but we ended up. It worked a little better for us to cut it up and just have him do this one little line where he sings "Everybody Knows," and it's kind of cool because it's in the background. You can't quite tell, but Anthony Green's on it. We're huge Circus Survive fans, and Seosin, and as well as his solo stuff. Gosh, there's another. We ended up having Andrew McMahon from Jack's Mannequin, his solo project, and Something Corporate. He played keys, actual piano on Saved, the song Saved. That's all Andrew McMahon. He was on the same label, Sire or Warner Brothers as us, during Jack's Mannequin. So it was, just a couple people we called, and he ended up, we were great friends with him for that little time we were in California. And, he's an amazing dude. Gosh, some other things.
We almost got Jewel to sing on Connect the Dots. She was hanging out. We were playing basketball outside the studio, and I look over and was like, that's Jewel right there. So we told Neil, and he's like, let me go talk to her, maybe I can get her.
Yeah.
We tried. And
we tried.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing. That would have been amazing. But nonetheless, Connect the Dots turned out all right. That's what else was there? We
related on the basketball note. Didn't you guys get to play with the
Avenged Sevenfold before their died? Yeah, before he had passed. They were there doing in Studio A or B, doing drums and getting their new Avenged Sevenfold stuff done. And there's a little like meeting common place in the middle, surrounded by all these studio doors, and it's like a little basketball court with a hoop, and so.
Yeah, we were trying to play like horse with those guys, and trick shot horse.
And trick shot. What's the lead singer's M Shadow or something?
I can't remember.
And we were going like outside the complex from the parking lot trying to shoot.
And he was freakishly good.
He was really good. He was really good.
Weird.
That was cool, just because like we're different music, but they were nice. Like just to be able to play basketball with people within the industry that you don't even know, and that was cool just to have that little connection. Gosh, what else? There was our guitar player at the time, Dan. He almost broke his arm right before he had to start playing his guitar parts. Yeah. But he didn't break it. He just slept on it wrong, and we were like,
No, he fell on the scooter, right?
Oh, he fell. Yeah,
we all gotten electric scooters.
We got electric scooters to have fun in California.
He wiped out,
and he wiped out pretty hard, and he was in a sling for a while, so we had to do other stuff on the record to get by until he was healed. What else was there?
We met Topanga.
We met Topanga
pre-production.
In pre-production, yeah. We were sitting there. One of her friends was in a band playing at the same rehearsal space where we did pre-pro before we got in the studio, and we were all sitting there discussing this song, and she walks in with her friend.
By meeting Topanga, it's basically...
We didn't meet her. We just she all of us like stopped, and she could clearly tell. We were like, oh my god. And she was like, hi guys.
Boy Meets World.
And we were like, cool, yeah, I know. I mean, I've seen them all the time. Like, whatever. That was really cool. Honestly, working with Neil was just amazing. That was a huge, awesome part to the whole process. He taught me to be a better musician. Recording. Our drum tech for Joe's, our old drummer Joe, his drum tech for the record was a guy named Mike Fasano, who was in a band called Warrant with Cherry Pie, that kind of stuff. He's also Trey Cool from Green Day's drum tech. So he came in, and if the snare started going out of tune halfway through the song, which I could never hear, he'd be like, hold on, and then they'd stop the take, going in just a slight tighten. Yeah, it was nuts. I mean, there was just our guitar tech was a guy that just came off the road from the G3 that Satriani,
Zach Wild,
the big tour with Satriani and Steve Vai and someone else, and he was the guitar tech for that record, where it's like we can barely play guitar, and he's in there tuning it for us. I mean, we're sitting there, we never touch the tuning pegs. There's a Peterson strobe tuner, and he's like, hold on. He's like, play that chord. Let's go back and do that chord again. And so the assistant engineer and him, we were just like robots, kind of. Yeah. And he would just be sitting there like, okay, go. Okay, go. And it was just, it's insane how, technology helped, but the people that are so pro behind that kind of stuff, you still have to have that human kind of touch, I think, which is what Neil kind of employed in us, and I think what a lot of people don't know is how much Neil has his fingerprints on even the structure on some of the songs. Yes. The original chorus of All Over You had it like a straight snare, the snare was on every beat,
and little things like that. Yeah, that you don't think about.
And All Over You was Neil had just got done doing. Neil had been Neil Avron. He had done Ocean Avenue, that big Yellow Card record, and that song in particular was their very last minute song that they just put on the record and wrote very quickly, which ended up being an enormous song. So our last song that we didn't even really have done and didn't really want to put on the record was All Over You. And it was it's this weird thing. It happens a lot. It's not just with Neil. I think it is with every artist that last one that kind of just pops out it ends up being the one that defines it, as in commercially, as far as a single, popularity and stuff like that. So All Over You was the last thing we did, I'd say, and changed a lot from the demo. It was barely going to be.
Well, it didn't have an intro either.
There's no intro, and
he had us listen to the beginning of every Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
And Tom Petty.
Yeah.
Because of
to try to come up with an intro.
When you hear he taught us this lesson, the first 5 to 10 seconds of that song is what will grab a person, and you always know, boom, that's that song, and that still remains true today, I think. But especially with Tom Petty or Red Hot Chili Peppers, bands like that, you we needed an intro for All Over You, and I just kind of that like na 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 na, and that kind of that's just something I took still to this day to maybe like how would you start it, not in a way of like accessibility, but like just the human mind will always gravitate towards I know that instantly. You could do that with something else other than just a guitar riff or whatever, but it was a big lesson to learn. I thought. I think that's I don't know. There's a lot in there. Maybe is that 10? That's maybe 11.
Yeah.